Hey everyone, welcome back to Day 8 of 30 Days to Fluent English. I'm Peter, and I'm here with Kathy.
And I'm Kathy. Today we're talking about something that can make or break your conversations, storytelling.
That's right. Think about it. When someone tells you a boring story with no details, no emotions, and no structure, you probably lose interest fast, right?
But when someone tells you a great story with exciting moments, natural flow, and strong emotions, you want to hear more.
In English-speaking cultures, being able to tell a good story is an important skill. Whether you're talking to friends, meeting new people, or even at work, a good story can make you more interesting and memorable.
But here's the problem. Many English learners struggle with storytelling because they don't know how to structure their story, how to use past tenses naturally, or how to make their story engaging.
So today we're going to teach you how to structure a great story in English, how to use past tenses naturally while storytelling, how to make your stories interesting and engaging.
And by the end of this episode, you'll be able to tell stories in English that keep people hooked and wanting to hear more.
All right, ready to become a great storyteller? Let's dive in.
Let's start with the most important foundation of storytelling, structure. If your story doesn't have a clear flow, people will lose interest or get confused.
That's right. The best way to tell a story in English is to use this simple three-step structure. Step 1. Set the scene, the beginning. Answer: who, where, when. Give just enough background information. Example: last summer I was traveling in Italy with my best friend, Emma. Step 2. The action, the middle. What happened? Add details to make it interesting. Example: we got completely lost in a small village and no one spoke English. Step 3. The outcome, the end. How did it end? What did you learn from the experience? Example: in the end, a kind old man helped us find our way back, and we even got invited to his house for dinner.
Let's listen to a short example story using this structure. Pay attention to how it flows naturally.
Beginning: last year, I decided to go skydiving for the first time with my friend Mike. Middle: we were so nervous, and right before we jumped, Mike looked at me and said, "What if my parachute doesn't open?" End: luckily, everything went perfectly, and it was one of the most exciting experiences of my life.
See? This structure helps keep your story clear, engaging, and easy to follow. Now let's move on to another important skill, using past tenses naturally.
When telling a story in English, we mostly use past tenses, but many learners mix them up, making their stories sound unnatural.
That's right. Let's break it down into 3 key past tenses you'll need when telling a story.
Past simple, for main actions. We arrived at the airport and checked in for our flight. She called me last night to tell me the news. Past continuous, for background actions or longer actions. It was raining when we left the hotel. I was talking to my friend when I saw a celebrity. Past perfect, for things that happened earlier in the story. By the time we got to the station, the train had already left. I had never tried sushi before that day. Let's test this out. I'll say a sentence with missing verbs, and you try to complete it with the correct past tense.
Yesterday, I see an old friend while I walk in the park.
The correct answer is, yesterday, I saw an old friend while I was walking in the park.
Nice job. Now try telling a short story using these past tenses correctly.
Now that you know how to structure a story and use past tenses correctly, let's talk about how to make your story engaging and fun to listen to.
Here are 3 simple techniques to make your stories more interesting. Use descriptive words instead of, "The beach was nice." Try, "The beach was breathtaking with golden sand and crystal clear water." Add emotions instead of, "I was scared." Try, "I was terrified, my heart was racing, and I could barely breathe." Use direct speech, dialogue, instead of, "The waiter told me the food was spicy." Try, "The waiter looked at me and said, 'Are you sure you want to eat that? It's very spicy.'"
Let's practice. Listen to these 2 sentences. Which one sounds more interesting?
We had dinner at a restaurant. We found this amazing little Italian restaurant and the pasta was the best I've ever had.
See? Small details make a big difference. Now let's test it with a sentence. Listen and try to add details.
I went to the park yesterday.
A better version could be, I went to the park yesterday and the sun was shining, kids were laughing, and I could hear birds singing in the trees.
That's how you bring your stories to life.
Before we wrap up, here's a simple storytelling framework you can practice with.
Try to tell a story using this framework. Step 1. Set the scene. Last winter, I was in New York City. Step 2. Describe the main event. Suddenly, I realized I had lost my phone in Times Square. Step 3. The outcome. Luckily, a kind stranger found it and returned it to me.
Your challenge today is to practice telling a short story using this framework.
Wow, today we learned some powerful techniques to help you tell great stories in English. Let's quickly review what we covered.
Yes, if you've ever struggled with telling an interesting story, these techniques will help you organize your thoughts, use the right tenses, and make your storytelling more engaging.
How to structure a great story. Every good story has 3 parts. Beginning, set the scene, who, where, when. Middle, what happened. Add details. End, how did it finish? What did you learn?
How to use past tenses naturally. When telling a story, remember, past simple for main actions. We arrived at the airport and checked in. Past continuous for background actions. It was raining when we left the hotel. Past perfect for earlier events. By the time we got there, the train had already left.
How to make your stories engaging. Instead of saying, I went to a restaurant, add descriptive words. We found a cozy Italian restaurant with the best pasta I've ever had. Emotions. I was so excited I could barely sit still. Dialogue. The waiter looked at me and said, Are you sure you want to eat that? It's very spicy.
How to practice storytelling. Use this simple storytelling framework. Step 1. Set the scene. Last summer, I was in Paris. Step 2. The main event. Suddenly, I realized I had lost my passport. Step 3. The outcome. Luckily, a kind stranger helped me find it.
If you practice these techniques, your storytelling will sound more natural and fun.
Now, it's time for your Day 8 challenge.
Step 1. Think of a short story from your life. It can be funny, surprising, or even a little embarrassing.
Step 2. Use the 3-step structure to organize your story.
Step 3. Tell your story out loud or write it down, and make sure to include details, emotions, and dialogue.
And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us. What story did you tell today? What storytelling technique helped you the most? What's the hardest part of telling stories in English?
All right, now you know how to tell a great story in English, but what if you could learn English naturally by watching movies and TV shows?
Oh, that's a big one. Watching movies and TV shows is one of the best ways to improve your listening and speaking skills, but many learners don't know how to use them effectively.
That's why tomorrow's episode is all about learning English from movies and TV shows. We'll teach you how to choose the right shows for your level, how to train your ears to understand native speakers, how to use subtitles the right way.
You don't want to miss Day 9, How to Learn English from Movies and TV Shows. Make sure to subscribe and follow so you don't miss an episode.
And remember, great conversations start with great stories. So, start practicing today.
See you tomorrow. And until then, keep talking, keep practicing, and enjoy learning English.
Bye for now and happy storytelling.